So all you have to do to succeed as an athlete is to train, eat and recover, and then you will improve. Everything will go perfect in a straight line, in a perfectly predictable fashion, and you will progress. Well, in practice it's not that simple, but this is what we expect. And this is for the simple fact that we are not machines. We are humans and we have feelings. There will always be human factors in the process, which every one of us seem to forget at some point. You can plan all you want, and you should plan, but you have to be prepared when plans don't work. Things are unpredictable in life. You never know what's going to happen. You will reach a plateau here. A training method that has worked for you previously, it might stop working. You might be faced with an injury, a depression. Anything can happen because things are unpredictable once again. But if you have the maturity and the strength of character to appreciate the nature of progress in general, you're going to do good in the long run. Now, what is it that decides those ups and downs during our training periods? Why do things go very well at one point where they go downhill at another? What is it that decides all of this? The possible factors that might affect your quality of training and therefore your performance are endless. The list is gigantic, and those are all interdependent. If you lack in one area, it might affect 5 other areas. And this is the reason why progress cannot be linear all the times. It's the human factor in it. It is simply too many factors that are all interdependent. Maybe you're not sleeping enough, maybe you're not eating enough, maybe your training team, your environment is negative and pessimistic, and this is affecting your progress negatively in turn. The possible scenarios and assumptions are endless. And even small things that you could never imagine might have a big impact in your training. The opposite might be the case. Maybe they have a gigantic impact that you're not aware of. And this is what makes the thing so tricky. Your progress and development as an athlete is similar to that of the stock market. There will be bull markets where everything seems to be going up, everything is going your way and you're making progress and improvement left to right. And then you will have bear markets where things are on the low, things are declining, or you're stuck in a plateau. And this is where the most cash out. This is where the most give up, from the slightest adversity. Amateur investors will focus too much on small price changes that happen day to day in their investments. If it goes down just a couple of percentage points in one day, they will panic. And likewise, exactly like this, amateur athletes, they will focus on the small roadblocks and adversities that they will face, and they will put too much emotional investment in them. If they are faced with one temporary setback, one small problem, they will become pessimistic and some will even quit. And this is because they are not looking at things in the broad picture. They are looking at the things that happen moment to moment, and this has a big impact on them because they allow it to. Elite investors and elite athletes, on the other hand, they look at the bigger picture. They are in this for the long run. They don't focus on small setbacks. It doesn't affect them as much. Fortunately for you, you have greater control over your progress as an athlete than an investor probably has in the stock market. Do you have the maturity to make the right and appropriate adjustments when you're faced with a setback or a adversity, a bad period? Or do you succumb to it and become pessimistic or even quit? This is very common. It's easy to be confident when things are going well. We can all do something when we're confident, when we're happy about it, and everything seems to fall in place and go our way. How do we handle setbacks? How do you handle setbacks and adversities? What do you do once this winning column is broken? This is the real test. This is where the most give up. Can you still be confident in your abilities? Is your end goal still there, or do you succumb to the adversity you're facing? Do you have the resilience to break through this and come up with new solutions? And in my experience as a competitive athlete and a coach, one of the most common causes for a plateau or a decline of performance is something that I like to call toxic conservatism. And this is a strong resistance to change and an attachment to poor habits that has stopped working long time ago. Amateur athletes, they will fall in love with one way of doing things, one ideology or one method, and they will hold on to it with their life, even if it has stopped giving them results, which is insanity if you think about it. And this is common sense, we like to say, but we all keep doing this. They will then be stuck in a losing circle, always being stuck in this plateau and never breaking out of it. We all like to believe that we learn from our mistakes. This is one of the biggest human flaws, but this is rarely the case, however. for the majority at least. If this was the case, the world would probably be problem-free. We wouldn't have any problems if everyone learned from their mistakes. To truly learn from a mistake, it takes great effort. It takes assessment of yourself. It means you have to evaluate your methods, and this might damage your ego and your pride. This is not a stage that most people are ready for. So instead they choose to stay in this losing circle without being conscious of it. And it never ceases to surprise me as a coach that a lot of athletes, they seem to think once they are in a winning column, this will go on forever. Let's say you're a beginner powerlifter and you add 5 kilograms to your deadlift every week. When you're new in powerlifting, generally your margin for improvement is very high. You will progress very fast. And initially when following your 5 kilogram plan, it might work for a couple of weeks and you think this will go on forever. That you're this genetic freak, you're a Greek god, this and that. In this pace you'll be a world champion in no time, right? But did you seriously believe that you were gonna add 500 kilograms to your deadlift after 100 weeks? Are you like descendant of some silverback gorilla or something? Are you really that surprised that things suddenly stop? Well, you shouldn't be surprised, because this is not how things work. Everything comes in waves. And I believe this concept is the most evident in combat sports such as boxing or MMA or wrestling. You have an athlete like a prodigy or something that passes every single criteria of someone destined for greatness, for success. They're hardworking, they're tactical, they're strategic, they're adaptable, all of that. They will go on to win left and right, tournaments here and there, championship belts here and there, whatever you want to call it. They are indestructible, on the paper at least. And later they will start to take all of this for granted. They will think they're untouchable. They will think they're this mythical creature. And because of all the privileges that come with winning, they start to put forth less effort. Until they are finally faced with a loss because they stop taking things seriously. And for some, this works as a reality check and they learn a lesson and become more mature after this event. They come back with both feet on the ground. They self-assess themselves. And for others, this is it. Their confidence is completely shattered. They probably adopted this persona of being some mythical figure. They were thinking they were immortal and their confidence is now shattered. And this is the beginning of their downfall. We can look at history and we'll see thousands of instances like this. Whichever sport you play, whatever you practice, there is never a guarantee that you will be in a winning column forever. This momentum, it might not last forever, it will always come in waves. But once again, you can mitigate that risk of loss, that risk of failure by good preparation and constant improvement. You cannot avoid failure, that is impossible, but you can mitigate the amount of failures that you are faced with. That is what we're after here. If you look at the top figures in any sport, almost all of them have this immense ability of adaptation. They are so well prepared that they can almost adapt to any situation you throw at them. They can adapt to anything they are faced with. And this is the opposite of toxic conservatism that I was talking about earlier. Adaptation, adaptability. High-level athletes, world champions, Olympic champions, they will also face plateaus at times. They are human like you and me. Their performance will also go down at times. They will also take L's at times. But I can guarantee you that they know the possibility of it occurring. And because they are aware of this, they have both of their feet on the ground. They realize and they are prepared with solutions. It doesn't have as big of an emotional impact as someone who lives in a fantasy world and thinking they're this mythical creature that can't possibly be touched. High-level athletes, they will ride the waves of success for as long as they last, and once they stop, they look for new ways to improve immediately. No self-pity. Back to the next challenge. Let's go. That is the difference. They will identify old habits that are no longer giving them any results, that are useless, and they will make tweaks and adjustments and find new ways. They will make a new action plan after that. Maybe it's a diet change. Maybe they need to change their coach. Maybe they need to travel to a whole new training team where everyone is optimistic and there's this certain type of championship energy. I can tell you, in all of my experience as a coach, the best athletes are the ones that are open-minded, that are prepared for new solutions. They don't stick to things as means of tradition and They want to try new things. If one thing stops working, they try something new immediately. And the ones who are stuck, the ones who go down and never seem to progress, are the ones that are resistant to change, and they stick to the same old bullshit that has stopped working long time ago. Both the low-grade and the high-grade athletes, they will face the same or similar challenges throughout their whole career. But once again, one of them is adaptable and the other one is conservative.